technology in the industry. Yeah, Clean Air Duct System will significantly improve the indoor air quality.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing? It feels like Friday, but it's Thursday. Big D, good to see you. Got a lot to talk about today. Thanks for joining us on Twitter and YouTube. That's pretty good. Had a big night last night at Tom Brady's debut of the Hall of Excellence. Met Tom Brady. Hung out with Mark Davis, the owner, a bunch of other people. So I'll be doing a lot of name dropping. A lot of name dropping today. NBA Finals tonight. Game 6. No more Stanley Cup. My Yankees lost to the Angels again. Holy crap. And the Dodgers beat the Padres. What's nothing new there, right? What's going on, Bill? What's going on, everybody?
It's the Rich Eisen Show, following the morning tailgate. Weekday mornings at 10, here on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM. KRLD
All right, let's do
Las
this.
Vegas.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes up off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 20 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we are here in studio today on a blistering hot day in Las Vegas. From the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio, streaming live on YouTube and streaming on X. How about that? I hit 2 buttons today. So we're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter, which is X now, at JT the Brick, and you can watch the show. Not that there's a lot to watch. It's just me, and you can see me kind of blow a gasket from time to time. When we do have guests, we get them in there. But we're excited to be here today. I got a lot to share. If you're not into name dropping, I'm going to be doing a lot of name dropping. I've been known to exaggerate, but I never lie, and I got a lot of names to drop from last night. I'll get to that in a minute. We got the NBA Finals tonight, Game 6. I think Oklahoma City is going to win. I picked Oklahoma City to win in 6 when it started, but the Pacers are at home. No more Stanley Cup as the Florida Panthers have won, so we're done with hockey, and we could be done with the NBA, and we have no football. As in no football. There's none. There's no football. Everybody's gone. So we'll try to find a way to give you Raiders content every day. and we'll do that today. I got a lot of Raider stories to share from last night and the draft day luncheon that I emceed yesterday at Allegiant Stadium. Got some good stories to tell today, and then hopefully we hear from you. You've been quiet lately. You've been real quiet, okay? And I got 2 hours in me today, but not a lot more. It was a late night last night at the Fountain Blue, and I'm actually staying at the Fountain Blue. And I left. Yeah, I'm staying there for a couple of days, little staycation. The wife's down there. So she's down there. I drove from there to here. I usually drive from the mean streets of Summerlin very quickly to get here, as in very quickly. But today I had to get the car out of valet, drive up here off the strip, get in here, and Bobby and I put the show together. Vince Sapienza, our morning host, and he's an insider with the Raiders, the Golden Knights. He'll join us at the bottom of the hour. And then one of my favorite sports talk hosts, Scott Kaplan from ESPN LA. Evening drive in the number 2 media market on the sale of the Lakers. Ooh, say it ain't so, Jeannie. Selling the Lakers for $10 billion? I talked about that with Mark Davis last night. And then what we're going to dive into next week, probably near the end of the week next week, maybe a week from today, Thursday or Friday, we're going to break into our summertime radio topic on the most influential Raider draft picks of all time. And that took a lot of work, and we're nowhere near done. It took a lot more work than we thought. So last night, I went to the Hall of Excellence at Fountain Blue, and it was mind-blowing. My whole life, I've been a memorabilia collector. Now, what do I mean? I don't have warehouses full of memorabilia, but I got some cool memorabilia over my lifetime that I want to pass down to my sons, from Jim Brown helmets to Reggie Jackson and Mickey Mantle autograph balls, whatever it is, a signed Phil Simms jersey, all the stuff that I have. So I was excited to go to the Hall of Champions, which is opening Friday at Fountain Blue. $35 to get in, $30 for Nevada residents. So my wife and I had a tour at 3:30 yesterday, led by the director, Howard Deneroff, who's been a longtime friend of mine, a high-end executive in radio for the majority of his career, one of the best producers in all radio, produced all the Super Bowls. He's just a legend in our business. And he decided to go with Jim Gray and Tom Brady to be the director of this Hall of Excellence. So we're going to help them promote it because they know we're on Raider Nation Radio and we got a lot of listeners and advertisers, and it's a good fit for us. So we went there yesterday, checked into the Fountain Blue, and then went on our tour. And I've never seen anything like this in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the greatest memorabilia collection I've ever seen, and it's right here in Vegas. So it's a partnership between Jim Gray and his wife, Fran, and Tom Brady. They put it together along with a lot of donations and benefactors and people that donated their memorabilia to this Hall of Excellence. So we walk in and they give us a handheld device. It looks like a cell phone with earbuds. And it was perfect. You just press a button and you can go on the tour, and it's narrated by Morgan Freeman, the Morgan Freeman. And you can go on a tour of 4 hours of this, or I think the Morgan Freeman tour was about 47 minutes. And we start off, and the first thing I see to my left is Ohtani's bat from the World Series and his cleats from last year. Something modern, and it looked pretty cool. And then the big, big, big one right there in the front, Michael Jordan's case, his original shoes, the number one original shoes he ever wore in his first NBA game, the Air Jordans, along with his cigars and a lot of memorabilia of Michael Jordan. And I've seen a lot of Michael Jordan memorabilia, nothing like this. And to see the Air Jordan shoes and to know those are the ones was pretty spectacular. And then Jim Gray had an unbelievable piece. He had Oprah Winfrey's Medal of Freedom that was there. Her Emmy, there was so many awards. There were Oscars. I'm looking around this place. I couldn't believe what we saw, Grammy Awards that were there. And then I looked to my right, and there's this purple Elvis Presley suit, life-size Elvis Presley. And we ended up talking to this lady last night at the party who came from Graceland with that piece for the hall. And my wife struck up a conversation with her, and it was amazing about what Elvis Presley has in this Hall of Excellence. Then we just started walking around. The key to this entire collection is it houses all of Tom Brady's personal memorabilia. The GOAT, Tom Brady. It's got his 7 Super Bowl rings, There's not one ring at Foxborough. There's not one ring in Miami. There's not another ring up north in the Bay Area. All 7 of them are there in this unbelievable case, like nothing I've ever seen before. Just incredible. Then it has all his jerseys from the Super Bowl. And it has Tom Brady's original draft card where he was drafted 199. And Tom talked about that later on in the evening. I'll share that with you. So I'm looking at all this. And then I go and I see Babe Ruth's bat. The Babe Ruth where he called his shot. That bat is there. Then it's got the Yankees 1998 World Series trophy. Then Reggie Jackson, who I hung out with all last night, his bat where he hit 3 home runs in the World Series is there. And my wife's looking at me going, can you believe this? Billie Jean King's dress, a whole bunch of tennis. If you're into golf, Tiger Woods' ball that he won the Masters with, along with his irons. They had a beautiful Jack Nicklaus presentation. So I just can't tell you, words cannot put it. You have to see this. You have to see it. And for $35, oh my God, compared to what dinner cost, 2 cocktails in the lobby anywhere in Vegas so you can go to the Hall of Excellence. So I was just blown away. And after being there for about 45 minutes, I told Howard Deneroff how proud I was of him and Jim Gray, and to see all of this and to look at it. And then as you leave the Hall of Excellence, Kobe Bryant. There is a beautiful presentation of Kobe Bryant, his sneakers, his jersey, his McDonald's High School All-American, his Olympic jacket. It's all there. Now, my sons grew up big Kobe fans. I mean, my son would be brought to tears if he saw this. He really would. So I'm not even touching on everything that's there. I mean, we're talking about hundreds upon hundreds of items. I took some video and some pictures I'm going to send out on X at JT the Brick. Take a look at it. And it was amazing. So we did that tour and, you know, we got ready for the party. And the party was at the top of the Fontainebleau. It's called the Poodle Room. And it's members only. Can't get in. Just can't get in if you're not for the Hall of Excellence, anybody, unless you're a member up there. And I was lucky enough to go up there once before with Mark Jones, who's the head of the Black Hole, who's a member up there. Beautiful, beautiful room. So my wife and I, we get dressed up. We go to this party that starts at 6 o'clock at night. We get off the elevator. The first guy who's there is Mark Wahlberg. He's waiting in line in front of us to take a photo. Then there's a sign, no cameras, no video, no photos. Everybody, put your camera away. Cameras are not allowed. That's tough on me, man. I like to take a photo or two. If I'm at a concert, I like to take a photo or two. So I'm there. I put my phone away, didn't turn it off, and we start walking through this party, which was the who's who of sports. Shannon Sharp, Reggie Jackson, Eric Heiden, the famed Olympic speed skater. Meeting him was a high honor last night. Mark Davis was there. A couple of other really big people in town, casino owners, and Tom Brady and his family. So we're sitting there, and my wife goes to get a cocktail and a drink, and she goes to sit on the couch. True story. She sits on the couch. Who sits down next to her? Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. I can't make this up. So Belichick sits down. Jordan, I think's the girl. She sits down next to my wife. Hello, hi, coach, how you doing? Just small talk. They were talking, locked in, not going to interrupt them. I'm like, wow, Belichick's here. He had a lot of stuff in the Hall of Excellence. His hoodie, I think he had a ring there too. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's pretty big. She's in the news a lot. So she's there, and that was really interesting. And then got a chance to meet Tom Brady. Jim Gray couldn't have been more gracious. Tom was nice. I introduced myself. We had a short conversation. He's a tremendous gentleman. Tom Brady worked the entire room. The entire room, looked everybody in the eye, talked to everybody there, a couple hundred people. Again, no cameras, no selfies. A lot of the ladies had a problem with that. They wanted Tom Brady selfies. There's no phones up there, which was incredible. And a couple of people I know from the Raiders staff was up there. Sandra Douglas Morgan, the president of the Raiders. So there's a whole bunch of people up there having a good time. So then we're sitting there and we moved from one couch to another, and we got a chance to meet Tom Brady's dad. His mom and dad were there. His mom
Okay.
was talking to his sister.
Okay.
And my wife and I spent 20 minutes talking to Mr. Brady. Oh my God, what a nice man. One of the kindest men. You've seen him on all the Super Bowls. You've seen videos of him. And, you know, the relationship to the Bay Area. My wife said to him, well, we know you're a Niner fan growing up. What about the Raiders? And Tom Brady's dad goes, oh, no. I love the Raiders too. He's a guy who likes two teams. You know, he had two teams in the Bay Area, more of a Niner fan. And he dropped Fred Biletnikoff's name. He goes, oh, Fred Biletnikoff. And I go, I talk to Freddie almost every day. He says, please say hi to Fred for me. And I mean, we were almost uncomfortable. We were talking to him for so long. He was such a gentleman. And at the end, we said, you should be very proud of your family and your son for this. And he was just fantastic. And that was my biggest takeaway, by the way. Meeting Tom Brady was pretty cool. And hanging out with Reggie Jackson and Michael Phelps and everybody who was there, the who's who of sports. But meeting Tom Brady's dad, what a nice guy. And he's really excited. And he said, everybody calls him Tommy. He said, Tommy loves this. Tommy loves that. Tommy's so happy to be with Mark and the Raiders and all of that. So just wanted to share that. It was truly an amazing night last night. And the Fountain Blue is just gorgeous, as you know. And that thing ended about 9:30. And we took the elevator down to the lobby and then walked around and had a nice evening there. And I just couldn't believe it. So when I left today, I happened to walk by the Hall of Excellence, and they're getting it ready for the grand opening tomorrow, which is Friday. So if you'd like to go and you're in town, I would make it a priority.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I would not waste your time and tell you to go if I didn't think it was great. And we hope to do a lot with them because it's the perfect type of place where I'd like to do a radio show from out front, do a remote from out front and get people to come out there and go there because Tom Brady's collection's there. And if you're listening in Boston, you ain't going to see that at Faneuil Hall.
No.
That's not going to be over at Gillette at Foxborough in the Patriots Hall of Fame. They're not having a Brady exhibit. His entire collection, his Michigan jerseys, Tampa Bay, the Patriots, it's all right here in Las Vegas at Fontainebleau. So I was just amazed by that. The Jim Brown almost brought a tear to my eye. I'm walking the corner and how tight I was with Jim Brown. They got his helmet there. But then I saved the best for last. So I looked at Howard Deneroff and I said, did I miss anything? And he goes, did you see the Wilt Chamberlain? I go, no, what do you mean? He goes, come here. Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a basketball game. Wasn't on television, and it wasn't on radio. The only people who saw it in Hershey, Pennsylvania were there. There's only one scorecard, one, signed by Wilt Chamberlain, and it's in there. So, I mean, if you're into sports memorabilia, you go to this glass case and you see Wilt Chamberlain and this card. And you know the famous picture of him holding up 100. And Howard was telling the story that someone was smart enough that night when he did that to get Wilt to hold the 100 and have him sign the scorecard. That's there at the Hall of Excellence. That was my big thing. And then they had all of Muhammad Ali's stuff because Jim Gray had a great relationship with Muhammad Ali's wife. So his collection's in there, his original gloves, his robes. Wow. So you got Elvis, Beatles, Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady's full collection. I mean, Jim Gray. And I've known Jim a long time, not super well, but right. I consider him a friend. And I will tell you this, Jim Gray's collection with his wife, Fran, I don't know if there's a better collection. Now, some of it was donated. So we bumped into these guys at the party at the bar and we're like, where are you from? And they were from Switzerland and they were there representing FIFA. So they had Ronaldo's jersey, Messi's jersey, balls there. So these guys donated that. Jim Gray didn't own that. They donated that. Right. Again, Oprah donated her Congressional Medal of Freedom there. Stedman was there, not Oprah. Stedman was there last night. So all this came together beautifully. So at the end of the evening, Tom Brady spoke. Tom Brady grabbed a microphone in a large kind of bar setting. You could hear a pin drop. And Tom Brady talked about his parents, his life, and he talked about all the failures that you have to succeed. So he said, everybody asks about a Super Bowl and all these great moments. He says, no, it's about the failures and what he learned from those failures to make him who he is today. And he's done speaking, and Reggie Jackson grabs the mic from him and Reggie starts speaking, talking about Tom, which was pretty heavy. And we're sitting here, I'm standing next to Eric Hayden, and Eric Hayden's looking at me, and we're like, this is incredible. Yeah. So special night last night. You know, I do tell stories from time to time. I thought that was a pretty good one. I recommend everybody go to Fontainebleau. I'll go to the Hall of Excellence. It's on the second floor if you come in off the lobby, and you'll be able to see it. And I think after you see it, you'll go back and forth again and again and again. And to hear Morgan Freeman narrate everything, you get to the Michael Jordan selection, and it's Morgan Freeman taking you through every object that's there. But for me as a Yankee fan, the Babe Ruth bat is probably the most tremendous bat there. Jackie Robinson collection is there. Everything that I saw there, just one thing after another, I couldn't believe. And my wife was really impressed with the presentation of Brady's rings. I've never seen a case like this. It was like a rotating case. It looked like something, I can't even describe it, from like Monte Carlo. You've never seen anything this exquisite, and Brady's rings are all there. But yeah, so the name dropping from last night was pretty cool. And, you know, all the people that came there and supported Tom Brady. You know, Tom's got a big stay here in Vegas, not only from the Raiders, but the Fontainebleau. He's got the owner of the Fontainebleau as his best friend. They've got a lot of friends connected to it. And I thought it was just tremendous there overall. So if you're a memorabilia collector and you really like memorabilia, you don't have to have the greatest collection in the world. There could be one object in your life. Like right outside this door here, there's an Ozzy Osbourne autograph, right? You can have one thing. I'm a big believer in any autograph that you have, it should have been written for you. You know, I'm not a guy that goes online and wants to buy someone's autograph. Most of the autographs I have were signed in front of me. But of course, I have some things like a Jordan jersey or Magic Johnson that I've gotten before, but, you know, they weren't personalized to me, but they're memorabilia. This thing's next level. This is the biggest memorabilia collection on steroids that you've ever seen. So incredible opportunity for everybody. I highly recommend everybody go out to Fontainebleau and see it. And we're staying at the Fontainebleau for a few days because we're helping with the Hall of Excellence, kicking it off. Thanks to Howard Deneroff, Tom Brady, Jim Gray, and Fran Gray, and the entire staff at Fontainebleau for having us out there and giving us the tour. And I told them I want to come back with my sons, and I'll pay. You know, I'm not looking for a comp. I'll pay and take my sons to come see this because I think my sons will be blown away by this, especially the Kobe. I mean, the Kobe stuff would kind of bring you to tears if you're a Laker fan. And also the news on the Lakers now getting sold for $10 billion. I had a private conversation with Mark Davis on that number. Very interesting because Mark goes back with the Buss family a long time in Jeannie Buss, and the prices of all of this is just incredible. There was also a lot of Laker memorabilia other than Kobe. Magic Johnson, Bill Russell. Bobby, you're a Bill Russell fan with the Celtics. There was some Magic Bird shoes, their Converse there. And I think Dr. J gave a lot to this Hall of Fame. There was a lot of Dr. J memorabilia there. Nothing looks better than an old New York Nets jersey, the red, white, and blue. And Dr. J, his sneakers were there, which was unbelievable. And then they had a whole wall of baseballs. I didn't dive into all that. We only had about 45 minutes to go through it. They had other people coming through the tour, so we went through it pretty quickly. But I love the way it was narrated. I just love the look of it, the marble. I mean, everything. This is not the best way to describe it. When you see memorabilia, a lot of times it's in a frame. Yeah. There's no frames. There's no frames. This is all behind glass and marble. It feels like you're walking in to the Smithsonian. And I think a lot of people are comparing it to that, the Smithsonian of sports. So Tom Brady gave a big speech in the morning yesterday. A lot of the media were in town for that. The iconic quarterback unveiled the one-of-the-kind immersive experience, celebrating not only his collection, but other peers, along with Jim Gray. And it opens up this Friday, as I said, and I think you'll really enjoy sports at a different level. You know, we call ourselves the sports and entertainment capital of the world for a reason, and we needed something like this in this town. They've tried to do it in the past. I remember there was one at Luxor that didn't work, but this one's going to hopefully be around for many years to come. And it was absolutely fantastic. So once again, head on out to the Hall of Excellence at Fontainebleau and see Tom Brady's private collection. I think you'll be pretty impressed by everything there. So as we get rolling here, there's a lot more sports I want to get to when it comes to the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell was there last night. A couple of Raiders were floating around this party, and there's a lot of hype on the Raiders in Las Vegas right now. Some of it has to do with Tom Brady. A lot of it has to do with Geno Smith. A lot of it has to do with Ashton Genty. So when we come back, I'm going to share with you what it was like to be a part of the draft day luncheon yesterday with the 4 gentlemen who were on stage with me. And they all have great individual stories. And a couple of people have told me that this is the draft class. And I said, what do you mean? This is the draft class that's going to turn the Raiders around. No disrespect to the other draft classes. No, this is the one. This is the group of guys that I spent time with yesterday who are all gentlemen, well-spoken, all got unique stories. They all love the Raiders. They know a little bit of the history of the Raiders. And they're really going to get this thing turned around, I hope, because they're no joke. Darian Porter, I want to share some stories with him yesterday. He was fantastic. The monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2. It's the best happy hour in town. If you're not going to a sports book tonight because they're too crowded, you can go to a PTs and watch the NBA Finals. Will Indiana force a game 7, or will it be Oklahoma City? Half-price drinks, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. PTs, proud partner of Raider Nation Radio. Yep. All right. Cut the sleeves off. Why would I do that, Willie? This is an office setting we're in. I got to get some water. I am dehydrated. A few Tito's last night. A few Tito's last night for sure.
Starting at just $6.99. Plus, enjoy special financing up to 72 months and same-day delivery. So you'll sleep better tonight. Hurry into Best Mattress. These explosive savings end soon. Sleep easy, friends.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back changes everything.
Our family has spent over 3 decades fighting and pursuing justice for the injured. It's a long family heritage that we proudly carry on.
From our father, to our family, to the expert legal team at the Castroverde, we founded this firm for you. We're the Castroverde Brothers.
And we have your back.
Brotherswin.com. The world's largest Formula One attraction is now open at Grand Prix Plaza. Step into the action with F1X, a cutting-edge 4D experience where you design your own custom F1 car in a fully immersive tech-powered space. Then hit the track with F1 Drive, the only karting experience that lets you race on an F1 circuit. It's Formula One like you've never seen or felt before. Nevada residents save up to 25%. Get your tickets now at GrandPrixPlaza.com.
If you need to sell your house,
Talk to Aaron Taylor.
you wanna sell it fast and get the most cash. Talk to Aaron Taylor.
The real estate guy. Hello, this is Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy. Are you serious about buying or selling real estate? Then you need a team that's just as serious as you. The real estate guy, we deliver what others promise. Clear communication, professional service, and top results that you can count on.
That's right, Dad. Jacob Taylor here, the real estate guy. Whether you're buying your dream home or selling your biggest asset, do not settle for less. Work with the brand that leads with experience, trust, and proven success. With over 8,000 homes sold and 30 years in the business, we know what we're doing.
Go to therealestateguyLV.com or call 702-310.
All right, I'm back. Back in the New York groove. Back in the New York groove. You can play that actually. That's one of your rejoins. I know that. Yes. I love being able to simulcast this on Twitter and simulcast it on YouTube. We get a much bigger audience. The YouTube numbers are a little bit slow in the summer and no football games. So It's nice that we can do this on Twitter for people that want to look. Ooh, let me check the stock market. I haven't checked the stock market today.
Jackson Powers Johnson coming back.
Okay. Let's see what the stock market's done today. Oh, down 44. It's not bad. Any of you guys in there? Yeah, that's Ace Frehley back in the New York Groove, Big D. Good to see. Woo! There we go. And Bobby, get me that whole.
Hey, Vince, it's Bobby. How you doing? Hello. Yeah, there you are. I'm trying to get to the good stealth spot. I can't hear you too good. We're talking to you.
Oh.
Let me call you back in a minute. Call him back in a second.
Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we do little competitions. Like we'll do jump balls. We did like a little like walk on or like walk marathon thing. And we do like try to kick field goals. We did a little bit of cornhole. I mean, he's just mixing it up and always competing in something. So, but we do a lot of shoot offs. So that's fun.
Yeah, everybody's talking about that, including JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson. Every time you go in that building now, Pete Carroll has everybody compete. So it just could be, you're going to shoot baskets, as Max said. At any point, Pete could just pick out two people and say, shoot off. And they're going to go shoot, and that's what people do. They want to compete all the time. That's his way of keeping everyone sharp and everybody competing as much as they can. JT, back with you again, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Had a few of those last night at the Hall of Excellence. Great time. Ohtani's going to pitch against the Nationals coming up on Sunday, and we'll go through all of this, all the baseball today. Emi Udoka gets a new contract. I was with the owner of the Rockets last night, the Houston Rockets, for quite some time, and he didn't share that with me. It's the number one story today. Vince Sapienza joins us from our morning show and from Fox 5. And Vince, I was at Tom Brady's Hall of Excellence with Jim Gray yesterday. And man, wait till you see this collection here and what this is going to be about. It's probably the best sports memorabilia collection in the world.
Yeah, I was supposed to actually be there, but something came up and took me away. But everything I saw looked absolutely incredible. I love how he, got a little choked up with mom and dad in attendance as well. And that's really weird that the Rockets owner wouldn't give you that scoop, JT. That's kind of messed up.
Tillman Fertitta, no scoop last night. No cameras, no scoops. I was talking to Vinny. Vinny's still in the building here after your show, and he was telling me what you guys were talking about this morning about Geno Smith and how many games he would have to win, games that he could win and carry the Raiders on his own. Right. Walk us through that conversation on how important it is for Geno not to pick up where he was in Seattle at a very high level, but to be even better with the silver and black.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because we were having a conversation earlier in the week in terms of, what are fans most excited about the offense specifically, right? We got the year 2 of Brock Bowers, we got Pete, we got Chip Kelly. For the first time in what feels like forever, JT, there's a number of options and they're all correct, right, in terms of being excited about this offense. But it really got me thinking about Geno, and I think his biggest claim to fame in Seattle was, I didn't write back, that line that he produced. But it took us, probably a week or so, but when we really dug into the numbers of how good Geno was in Seattle, yet nobody was really talking about how accurate a passer he is, how much of a winner he is despite not having a team around him. So it got me thinking, what is the realistic expectation when you look at the Raiders' schedule? How many wins are we going to look back a year from now and say Geno was the reason above all else? Forget all the ancillary, the shiny toys, the Ashton, the Bowers. They're all great. They're all going to help elevate this offense. But how many games are we going to point to and say that was the alpha? That was QB1, Geno Smith's game. And I think, looking back at last year's game, and again, it's a very inexact science. It's it's probably an impossible question to answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at last year, I always go back to that Carolina game. The Raiders were coming off a massive road win in Baltimore. Massive.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for their home opener against a lowly Carolina Panthers team who were in the midst of a quarterback change with Andy Dalton. Every angle in which we sliced it, there was no way the Raiders lost that game. I mean, we spoke about it for a week. There's no way they're going to lose this game. They can't. And I made the argument then. That was going to be a franchise-changing win for the Raiders because it was going to finally show everyone that this isn't the same old Raiders. Obviously, we know how that one played out. My question then became, it doesn't have to be a game-winning drive for Geno, right? It doesn't have to be a 400-yard passing, 5-touchdown performance. It's the stabilization. It's preventing games like the Carolina game a year ago. So from a year from now, are we going to sit there and say, hey, that Cleveland game, maybe in past years that one's a little tight, but the Raiders blew them out. Geno maybe didn't have the ultra offensive player of the week, but he is the key cog for the Raiders. And it was an interesting discussion this morning because there was a lot of different variables and reaction from the fans about what that means. And the consensus seeming was 3 to 4 games where Geno Smith has to be the alpha, has to outduel the other guy. Because for the first time in a long time, there's a quarterback in Las Vegas that can go toe-to-toe with any QB in the league.
Wow, great analysis. Vince Sapienza from our morning show, also from Fox 5. So let me get this right. So it's not about the fact that Geno has to go out and throw for 380 and 4 touchdowns. He just can't lose games. He can't have leads and squander them. He's got to find games where the game is tight. And Geno's the reason why the Raiders win. Not Ashton Genty on the ground. It's Geno making plays, Geno running for first downs. I think you're right. 3 or 4 games out of 17 where Geno does that makes a lot of sense to me.
And it makes a massive difference in terms of how this team plays record-wise down the stretch. I mean, if this was a 4-win team a year ago with an absolutely below-average quarterback room, then Geno being able to elevate for a whole season, let alone having 3 to 4 games where he's the true difference maker, he's the alpha, I think that obviously cuts everything the right way. And if you want to break it down in terms of the variable, just he needs to be the guy that's deciding games at the end. He has 17 come from behind wins in the last 2 years, in the last 3 years. That's first in the National Football League. So, again, the underlying stats with Geno, I don't know if it's because he was tucked away in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if the Pete Carroll name and resume overshadowed what he was able to do. I don't know if it's age. I really don't know what it is because his numbers are very, very good for a team in Seattle that was average to below average.
Vince Sapienza joins us as we wrap it up. You nailed it. Some of it had to do with him being tucked away. But small market teams get just as much follow as big market teams from Green Bay to Seattle. Pete Carroll had something to do with that too. And, this was a Seattle team that didn't have the Legion of Boom. That ran out. Didn't have Russell Wilson. I don't think they had, the media coverage that they normally have. Geno's 70%. He's 70%. That's pretty impressive. When I asked him about it the first time, he said he's been doing that his whole life. He was almost offended that I was talking about how recent his completion percentage was. He's like, no, that's me in college. That was me in high school. He's a 70% guy, and he's never thrown a pass to Brock Bowers yet in a game. Jacoby Myers doesn't drop balls overall. So I love that conversation here on Geno. And, you do a lot in town on Fox 5. I just heard that Geno is going to be taking some of the players, some of the younger guys, undrafted guys. He's taking them to Miami to work out on his dime. Geno's taking them to go work out. That's what he's about here. I think the leadership cog here, Vince, with Pete and Geno has a lot to do with Spytech saying, I don't have to get another quarterback because Coach Carroll and Geno are so tied together. Now Spytech doesn't have to worry about that position and he can fill other needs.
It's fascinating. Geno's the most unassuming QB1 in the National Football League. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, here's a guy who's getting paid 19th to the 20th, somewhere in that range in terms of the hierarchy in terms of quarterback contracts, right? Yet he's widely considered a top 12 guy. So at minimum, he's already overplaying his contract, and he hasn't even taken a snap yet. The leadership part of all this, I think, is probably the least talked about component with Gino, especially on a subject that is as little talked about as possible. And I don't know how much of that was because of what happened in New York and the locker room issues and the broken jaw and everything that took place there. But by all accounts over the years, Geno Smith has been the consummate leader. He's been doing this, maybe not flying guys out to Miami like he is now, but he's always been pulling guys along with him. It's never been solo missions for Geno Smith. I mean, if you even look at the lead up to the draft, he was working out with Shedeur Sanders. I mean, this is a guy that everyone and their brother's mother pegged Shedeur Sanders to Las Vegas as the guy who was going to be the guy here with the silver and black. And we're seeing Instagram pictures and videos of the two working out together. I mean, this is a guy that is very confident in his ability, a very confident person in what he brings to the table. And he also understands like his role as a quarterback. It is to be a leader. It is to bring guys along. It's to drag guys in the fight. And whether that starts here in the summer and carries over into the fall, that's what he's going to do. And by all accounts, he's done that since he's been in Seattle. And even as he was serving as a backup quarterback while he was trying to find his place in the league.
Wrapping it up with Vince Sapienza. Anything on the Golden Knights? I know there's some infrastructure changes on the executive side. I don't know where the contracts are, but I looked at Florida, bringing in Marchand and what they were able to do with that team. They made some trade deadline moves that helped deliver back-to-back Stanley Cups for that team. How stable do the Golden Knights look with their stars, their contracts? Do we expect everybody to come back, or will they bring in some new faces, maybe some stars from around the league?
Well, JT, you know, what's interesting about the Houston Rockets not getting the scoop last night. I was with Golden Knights president, Kerry Bubolz at the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame. And we were having a drink or two together, and he failed to mention that all the changes that were going to be announced this week too. So we're in the same boat in that. But in terms of the player personnel and the roster, the biggest thing to keep an eye out for is starting July 1st. The Golden Knights have the ability to sign Jack Eichel to a long-term contract extension. There's zero doubt that is going to get done at some point. It's not a matter of if, but when. As for the rest of the roster, there's a lot of rumblings nationally and in Canada about Alex Pietrangelo, his availability for the fall. I have not heard anything in terms of him not being available, but we'll see what the next couple months provide. I think the Mitch Marner name with the Golden Knights and the mutual want and desire from both parties, I think that is very real, and that'd be something to watch here. What do we got in the next 10 days or so before July 1st opens up? So I expect the Golden Knights to be very active. They were pissed off. They were angry. They were kerfuffled a bit the way their season ended, and I would not be shocked to see another big offseason move made here this summer.
So you start real early in the morning with morning drive. Sometimes you go late at night at Fox 5. The kids getting used to this now. Kids want to go on vacation there, Vince. You're a big-time dad in the summer. Your kids got to get on a road trip. What do you got planned for later on this summer before Raiders start?
Yeah, I get to hit the reset, refresh button next week. So I'll be away for the next 10 days or so after tomorrow morning. And then it's right back to the grind, JT, because that's when the news starts flying, especially with hockey. And then that will bridge me beautifully into training camp, which selfishly I'm very happy that it's going to be taking place here in the beautiful facility. And you spent all that money, MD. You might as well keep the guys around. Official partner with the M Hotel, keep the guys around. So selfishly, I'm a big fan of that being right close to home.
Thanks for doing this today. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Thanks, JT.
Vince Sapienza. We're happy to have him on in the mornings. He's really good. And the great work he does with the Golden Knights as an insider and Fox 5, fantastic to have him. Look, I enjoyed Costa Mesa last year because it got me out of Vegas. I got to get out of here, man. I've been telling you that, Bobby, since we met in 96 or 97. And I want to go over, next hour, I found a date of me and you starting the other day. Something popped up, but you got to get out of here in July, man. If you can. A lot of people can't. I understand it. You got to work. You got family, kids, whatever you're doing. But if you can get out of Vegas in July for just a few weeks or a few days and go to the beach, what's interesting about radio going forward with all these other platforms is you can take the radio show with you. You know, we need a certain type of stream to have the show on the radio, but what I'm doing on YouTube and just pack it up with a microphone and go on the road and do that means a lot here in the summer. So it sounds like Vince is going on a vacation. Q's on a vacation now. I'll be on a vacation over 4th of July in a couple of weeks for a little bit, heading back east, which it's been raining and cold every day in the summertime. But I know by July 4th, hopefully that will all blow out. We got a big night in sports tonight because it's Game 6. And Game 6 is really important tonight. I'd like to see Indiana win. I don't think they will. I think if you look at Indiana and the way the team is built, Halliburton especially not being 100%, I believe it's Oklahoma City's time to get it done. And if Oklahoma City is that good, prove it and go win on the road. If you're the NBA champs and you're going to get it done, go win on the road and do it instead of waiting for Game 7 at home. I don't pick Game 7s because that means that you don't know who's going to win. So I said OKC in 6. The line opened up, Pacers +6. Now I'm seeing +6, a few +5.5s. So I don't know many Pacer fans who are betting for them to lose, but they're going to cover the spread. But I think it'll be a tight game tonight. Why not? The Pacers have that energy. They got Rick Carlisle. They're at home. It's the last game of the year in Indiana, win or lose. I think the fans are going to make it loud. I think the fans are going to be fired up. And I think the Thunder will win a close game, and the Thunder will win the NBA title. Bobby, we got some day baseball that'll have to update some people. Cranky Yankee is brewing after the last couple of days. And more on the opening at the Fountain Blues Hall of Excellence with Tom Brady and Jim Gray. Got a couple more stories to tell about that last night. And when we come back, yesterday was the Raiders draft class luncheon. Want to take you behind the scenes and what I talked to the 4 young men about. 29 rookies showed up at this draft luncheon. I never remember a number being that big. And it's exciting times now. These rookies are different. I'll tell you a couple of things about them behind the scenes that I think you'll enjoy. Ashton Genty is everything you can imagine. Whatever you want. He signed autographs. He talked to everyone who was in that room last night. He's a very humble kid, comes from a military family. Darian Porter blows me away. Didn't realize how tall he is. He's got Mike Haynes size for a rookie corner. I'll tell you what he had to say when we come back on the flagship.
It's unnecessary roughness.
It's funny, I do shows on ESPN Nashville, and I was on with Randy Scott one day. Randy Scott was a big Raiders fan. Somehow we got on to the conversation.
All right, man. How we doing? How's the stream doing? How's the chat? So the Universe Galaxy wants to join my panel. What is joining my panel? What does that mean? And Big D, there's a rain delay in New York with my Yankees.
No way.
How did I not know that? Let me double check on that. Look at Big D prepping the show. 5-3, rain delay, bottom of the 8th. Did Judge hit a homer today? Let me hit this box score. I didn't look. No. Who homered in this game? Let me double check. All right. Goldschmidt hit a home run for the Yankees, and Grisham homer. Okay.
We're going to play Alexander Hooper.
Judge 0 for 3. No, Judge 1 for 3. Batting 366. Remember when he was batting 396? He's dropped 30 points in 3 series. We knew that was going to happen. Everything else good going around the world? No one's blowing up anybody? Everybody's safe out there? Haven't looked at the news at all. Let's see.
I got a sock going up against the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, Rafael Devers versus the Red Sox. That's interesting.
So the Sox are on a 4-game win streak, and the Giants haven't won a game since they traded for him. Good story.
Yeah.
We went over 3 with a wash last night.
We'll keep the stream going to the top of the hour, everybody. And then I'm heading back in about an hour and 20 minutes to the Fountain Blue.
So it's Julie laying out of the pool or what?
We had a late night last night. So the wife, when I left her, was resting and getting ready to have some coffee and start the day. It was my son's birthday yesterday. That's what I wanted to mention. My son Jason turned 22 yesterday. And send me that whole Fountain Blue, Bobby. The whole big rant I want to send to them. Yeah. Durant's preferred trade destinations. So Tillman Fertitta owns the Rockets, and I was with his son last night. The multi-billionaire son is kind of the de facto owner of the Rockets, and we had a cocktail with him and talked to him for a good half hour. Nice young man, really good kid. Rain delay in New York. Unbelievable. Those New Yorkers can't catch a effing break with the weather, man. Can't catch a break.
It hasn't even broken 80 in Boston.
It hasn't broken 80 in Boston?
From start to finish, we make buying or selling your home smooth, fun, and completely stress-free. You got it, go Galindo, 702-820. GalindoGroupRealEstate.com. Great cities are built on strong foundations.
All right. I'm going to jump off. Keep this on YouTube. We'll keep this on YouTube, and I'm going to bail on Twitter. Yeah. So we're just on YouTube. How about that? Look at me working the buttons, man. Violator, man. Good to see Violator. One of the greatest, not fans, one of the best people I know. Violator and me went on the Raiders cruise. We went on the Raider fan cruise with 400 Raider fans. That was something.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Up top to Nemhart, pump fake score, drives left in the lane. Throws it away, Shea the steal, 12 on Holmgren. Driving left, down the lane to the rim, lays it up left-handed, lays it home. And he's hacked in the neck by Neesmith. Oh, the Thunder spurt back to go up 10, 107-97. A spectacular third by Shea.
Thunder Radio on the call. JT back with you. Hope everybody's doing well. Man, we got a lot to get to. The Hall of Excellence opens Friday. I'm going to reset that same story. We're going to say the same story next hour for our new audience because we're going to try to help out the Fountain Blue. Get some people to go to the Hall of Excellence, which opens up tomorrow. $35 to get in, $30 for a Nevada residency, $25 for kids. I think it's one of the best values out there in town. So a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. Yesterday was the Raiders draft class luncheon, and I get a chance to be a part of that every year. And I emceed it this year, and this was probably the most memorable one for me. And I keep saying it's because of Jack Besh. I don't know him well, but I've interviewed him now 3 times. And since his brother was killed in the terrorist attack, you know, when you interview people for a living, you don't want to bring that up, but he does. And he talked about it yesterday, and he's very comfortable talking about the legacy, obviously, of his brother and how it inspires him. So yesterday, the 4 on stage with me were Ashton Genty, who was great, guard Caleb Rogers, another big, big guy, Jack Besh, who I mentioned, and then Darian Porter, who's the new defensive back. And that was the first time I met him and sat down with him. And you could just see from his size and how big he is. Now, he played 3 years wide receiver at Iowa State. Then they moved him to a cornerback. And he's got those instincts. And it's hard to figure out how a kid from college at Iowa State can move to corner and then play in the NFL. Like, how do you do that? And they're getting him up to speed because Pete Carroll drafted him and John Spytek because of his size. He's super long. He's super tall. He's a former receiver, so he knows the principles of route running. And he's supposedly a ball hawk from what I'm hearing. And he talked about the commitment to excellence and what it means to be a Raider. I asked them all, what does it feel like to be a Raider? And they all gave opinions about how this is such an important moment in their life, this organization, and how proud they are to be a part of it. But Jack Besh is special. We're going to spend more time tomorrow Bobby mentioned we're going to replay our media day interview with Jack Besh. I'm going to play that because it's really good, and we got to get to know him a little bit better. But as I got yesterday to talk to the big offensive lineman, Caleb Rogers, I asked him on stage, it's got to be pretty good for you knowing that you can compete to start. I mean, Alex Kappa or Caleb Rogers. Now, you would think Alex Kappa is going to start because they paid him, and John Spytek knows him from a former team to bring him in here. But Pete Carroll's going to let everybody go win jobs. So for the rookies, they've got to be really excited that no one's telling them, hey, man, you're not playing this year. It's going to be next year. No, not with Pete Carroll. If you have a better practice than the starter, you're going to get the starting reps the next day. And that's what this whole organization's about now. People use the word culture. I thought Antonio Pierce had a good culture. Josh McDaniels, all the kind things I said about him, the culture wasn't very good at the end. When he came in, the culture was pretty good with him and Dave Ziegler. People wanted to play for him. Max was on board. Everyone was on board. At the end, when he left, it wasn't going well. You know, the players weren't buying in anymore, and he was relieved of his services. I thought Antonio Pierce last year, even on the 10-game losing streak, was really coaching hard, and the players were playing hard for him. But this is next level with Pete Carroll now. So the depth of the offensive line, DJ Glaze, I don't want to say guarantee, but it looks like he's going to be the right tackle, and everyone's good with that. You good with that? I'm okay with it. Thayer Mumford, some of the depth there at tackle, Colt Miller on one side, DJ Glaze on the other. Yeah, I could live with that. I don't know if Dylan Parham's going to start. Jordan Meredith, who's competing there, Alex Kappa, Caleb Rogers. But this offensive line is going to be what gets Ashton Genty going. And then Ashton Genty talked about, he was sitting next to me, and he's a young kid, and he's just smiling. And I noticed he's looking up at the rafters of the stadium. I said, hey, Ashton, man, you played in this building before. What do you think? And he lit up. He just smiled. He played at Boise State at UNLV on the turf. Now he's going to play on the grass, and he can't wait to play here. You could just tell walking into that building, he knows he's going to have monster games on the grass here, and they all love the stadium. They were back in the green room. They were getting fed lunch yesterday, and every time someone came to serve them food, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. That's important to me. I mean, these guys are sharp. They really care, and they're buttoned up. There's no wise guys in this group. I think under Pete Carroll and John Spytek, they wanted to draft guys who are football players, and they love football. I could tell that these guys love football, and they love being a part of this draft class. For 29 undrafted players, too, show up yesterday to Legion Stadium in front of all the partners of the Raiders. That was really cool. All right, when we come back, Scott Kaplan's going to join us, big-time radio host in L.A. On the sale of the Lakers. Why would Jeannie Buss sell the Lakers? Why? Does it have to do with taxes down the road as she's setting up her estate, as some people are saying? And she's selling it to the owner of the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers have their hands full. They got Ohtani. How much money are the Dodgers spending? And now they're going to spend it with the Lakers too. I find this very unique. I never thought we'd ever see the Buss family sell the Lakers. It's worth a lot of money. They don't own all of it. They have the majority stake, and now they're giving it up. For Laker fans out there, are you concerned by this? I would be. You got a guy who's buying the team. What's his priority, the Dodgers or the Lakers? Probably both, because he's a multi-billionaire. And multi-billionaires tend to be very successful, and they're driven to win. So the Dodgers have great ownership. It looks like the Lakers are going to have that same type of ownership. But Dr. Buss, man, Dr. Buss and Jeannie, thought that would stay in the family forever. Yeah. And we'll preview the game coming up. I like Oklahoma City to win, but not cover. That game is tonight. So you got game 6 wherever you're watching here. Thanks to Alex in Orlando, the Castaverde, the Brothers Win. BrothersWin.com. If you get into an accident and you're injured, put their number in your phone. They can help you. 702-222-9999. JT, live in Vegas and live on YouTube.
Hear the ting of the aluminum bat as Game 2 of the College World Series is Sunday at 11:30 on 12:30 The Game. And if needed, Game 3 will be on Monday.
Brought to you
All right,
by
everybody.
Finley Toyota.
I'm rolling.
We're here for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas
got it.
Raiders
No
and the official cerveza of the Las Vegas
got it.
Raiders
No
and
problem.
the JT the Brick Show.
Thanks, everybody. I'll be
Modelo
back tomorrow. I don't know
Especial
if I'm
is a
going to
rich,
stream
full-flavored
tomorrow,
Pilsner-style lager,
but I'm going to do
delivering a
something
crisp,
tomorrow. Stay
refreshing
tuned.
taste,
Appreciate
brewed
everybody.
with fighting spirit since
Thank you.
1925.